Hi, this is Real Life, the Real Life channel. Well, Real Life. I realized when I made up my channel name that there were a few other versions of Real Life, but this is just Real Life. So, what I want to do today is a movie review on the movie Belle. That particular movie was only in limited theaters. I definitely went out my way to go see it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to see Belle, B-E-L-L-E. B-E-L-L-E is a British-based movie. I did see 12 Years a Slave, and Django Unchained. So there have been quite a few slavery movies, or movies about slavery, or the plot is about slavery. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to see Belle because I knew it had a little bit to do with slavery, but I decided I would go see it. And surprisingly, it does not show. It talks about slavery, but does not actually show the brutality or the violence of slavery. You hear about some of the violence and brutality of slavery, but you don't see it. Belle, I didn't realize the actress, Guru, I may not be pronouncing that exactly right, but she was actually starring next to Boris Cujo in the series Undercovers. That series didn't last long, I think, because it was something about the plot. It just didn't work, but I didn't realize that was the same woman, and she was beautiful in the TV series. She's gorgeous in this movie, Belle. She plays Dido Belle Lindsay, which is based on a real story of a British heir. She's biracial, black, Negro mom, and white, rich father. And she is brought up in aristocratic society, the class system. You learn about the class system, and I guess Britain still has a class system. You have your king, queen, and princes. So it's still, that class system is still there. And I guess even in America, there are certain class systems, whether we want to accept that fact or not. There are class systems. So the interesting thing about this movie was that if you learn to accept the class system, then like Belle, because she was mixed, she was not full bred, which this movie kept making me realize I'm not a dog owner, and or a pet owner, but it made me realize how people see dogs as being breedable and full bred with paperwork, and if the dog is mixed, then it's a mutt, and I guess you don't consider it as valuable if it's mixed. It's only valuable if it's full bred. I guess the full bred dogs have lineage and paperwork, and you pay taxes on the full bred dog, and so that mentality that people have as in regards to dogs and the purity and all that stuff, if you take that whole class system and the way you feel about that into account for human beings, that was how they were thinking with slavery. So even though Dido was rich because of her inheritance from her white father, and she only knew her mother by the color of her skin, that her mother existed. She was still technically not pure because she was mixed. She was so even though the wealth, so if she was to marry into a family that was on her social level or her class system, she still could potentially bring shame because she was not a pure English rose. So she fell into that category where if she married lower than her class system, that's going to bring shame on her family. And then she married into her class system, her purity or lack of pure breeding was going to bring shame potentially to the new family. If you watch the movie, she does fall in love, and the guy is not quite in her class system, but her dad, who is like a chief justice, ends up, and this is spoiler alert, ends up bringing him into his fold, so he's able to rise into a higher class in order to allow Belle Lindsay to actually not bring shame to her family, but marry someone that she ends up loving. So it is a love story. And also the other thing is she helps the Chief Justice to realize that considering human beings as cargo, as a commodity, was just wrong. Even though the color of Belle Lindsay's skin was that in which she was too low to eat at the table with the rest of the family, especially if they had out-of-town guests, and then her status was too high to eat with the servants. So she lived most of her life stuck in between not being high enough or low enough for the different social statuses. So it was a great movie as far as looking at class systems, social statuses. It also helped me realize, and there was a case of insurance fraud where a slave ship actually overpacked the ship with slaves, overpacked it with human cargoes, and chaining the slaves, dumping them over into the middle of the ocean. And we've seen that in the movie Amistad before. So when they described it, we didn't see it in the movie Belle, but when they described it, it made me think about what I saw in the movie Amistad. And so by the time they got to their destination, they had gotten rid of most of their human cargo, which were their slaves, and they were trying to get money, and it was like insurance fraud. It was proven that they purposely bypass all of these ports where they could have gotten food, water, replenish the boats, but they basically chose to cause the slaves to get sick and to get rid of them and to try to collect on the insurance. So the insurance fraud was going on in the 1800s, so if it went on back then, it's definitely potential for it now. So the movie was a love story. It opened your minds to the class system, and it's happening now. Slavery's happening now. Modern day slavery. It was good just to see that aspect in the 1800s. So if you can check out the movie Belle, hopefully it will win something in the upcoming Oscars, and maybe it'll be released in a few more theaters, but it's worth checking out. My name is actually Benita Blocker, and this is Real Life. Have a good day.